Joining us today on the podcast is one of the best personalities in the history of professional wrestling. He has done it all during his time in the WWE, and it's an honor to have him join us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anthony Corelli, also known as Santino Marella. How's it going? How's everything going?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Everything's awesome. Actually, I just stepped out. I'm in my office right now. I'm at Battle Arts Academy. And, as you know, we got kickboxing happening, boxing happening, submission wrestling. Actually, some of the wrestlers from Ring of Honor in New Japan, their bus just pulled up and they're training here en route to Toronto for their show. So it's kind of a surreal moment to see all cylinders firing in here. And it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Well, we got some sad news for us the other day, and I just want to know kind of what the process was for you. We heard that, your contract with WWE had been dissolved. Were you kind of shocked by that, and how supportive have all of your fans been throughout this process?
Yeah, I guess I was shocked because there was always talk of when I come back I was going to take a non-physical role, like maybe there was a little chatter about being a GM, and I, even suggested perhaps a manager if anybody needs one. But yeah, I guess they changed their mind. But it's interesting. It's a strange phenomenon. It's like a little bit of wow, it's over. And then like, wow, that was awesome. What's going to be next? A little, worried. And then this sense of like kind of freedom and just this weight, like, because you commit and you're a part of the team and you're, I don't want to say they own you, but, they kind of own you. There's certain opportunities you'll have to let go because you're with them and stuff. So now I don't have those obstacles anymore. So I feel like a free agent, put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Now, nothing's keeping you down. You're quite busy with your Battle Arts Academy. What can you tell us a little bit about your academy? Why did you get it started? How did you get it started? And any little information for our fans out there?
Yeah, well, I'm 42 years old. I debuted late. I was 33 when I debuted, and I was pretty green. I'm pretty proud of that part. The fact that I was able to make a 10-year run so late, starting so late. But I knew my neck was, the clock was ticking, and I wanted to create something that would provide a buffer between my WWE career and my next career. So now that Battle Arts is up and running, there's not really any pressure or stress on how we're going to, support ourselves because I have a business and it's successful. So that's a great stress relief, take it away. And now I can focus clearly on the next project without having that stress. So that was really my objective. So what I wanted to do was build my dream facility, something that encompassed everything that I love, fitness and judo and Olympic wrestling, pro wrestling, and we do MMA and we do everything here. It's actually pretty surreal.
Now, obviously, you mentioned that you train aspiring wrestlers also at the Battle Arts Academy. Now, you were brought in differently than probably a lot of the people that are coming into the business today. Do you train people whenever you're training professional wrestlers? Do you train them the way that you were trained, or is it kind of a combination of everything that you've learned along the way?
It's a total combination. I have obviously a lot of Rip Rogers in my teaching because he was my main coach. I hear myself repeating things that Al Snow said to us when I was at OVW. Of course, Don Koloff, my first coach, I take his perspective very heavily. So, and then of course, training in Japan with Yuki Ishikawa and the Battle Arts style. It's really a combination of everything, actually. Yeah, my world travels, and then having the luxury and opportunity to sit beside Arn Anderson and Dean Malenko and Ricky Steamboat and hearing them talk about matches and William Regal and just so many guys backstage. The list is extensive of guys you could learn from. So I had a really nourishing environment with regards to my professional wrestling education. And now I get to share that with these hopefuls like I was.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you prefer training wrestlers or actually wrestling? Is there a difference that you like better?
It's I loved wrestling. I trained my wrestlers the way I love wrestling. We do like for example, let's say some of our guys go to another show, and it's a hokey, indie, bullshit show, whatever. But the people in the audience, when they watch these guys, like, their match, they're going to look at each other and go, these guys really don't like each other. I think that one was real. And if you can really get them to even question it, then they're doing their job. So thank God there's not a textbook, but there's so many just rules of psychology and understanding and how everything has to escalate and have this climax and apex and, fighting from underneath and good versus evil. And it's just so much. And people come here with this, preconceived notion that because they're seeing the finished product and they want to do the finished product, but they don't know why they're doing the finished product. And it doesn't make sense when they try and redo it because they don't have that infrastructure of psychology rules behind them. So I give it to them straight. If you're a fat guy, lose weight. If you're a skinny guy, gain weight. If you have a bad attitude, change it. I'm not going to do anybody the disservice of lying to them. But I'll also be very encouraging, and say, if someone's struggling with losing weight, just say, I was like, look, man, there's guys here, they'll write you a diet plan. You don't have to figure it out. The formulas have already been created. Just kind of follow one, pick one. And so everything's possible. I believe that everyone can manipulate their body and become bigger, faster, stronger. And if you train hard enough and you're in here, if you're training 10 times a week in a variety of things, let's say 4 is pro wrestling, 3 is jiu-jitsu, and 3 are cardio, whatever. I hope that equals 10. But you should be training that much like a professional athlete if you want to make it. If you want to be the guy that says, hey, I'm doing the pro wrestling club twice a week and we play pro wrestling, that's absolutely fine. That's you can like wrestling in that way. But if you look me in the eye and you say you want to make it to the highest level possible, now we have an unspoken, well, no, we actually say it, a verbal commitment, that I'm going to push you and I'm going to train you like a professional athlete. And I'm going to be hard on you because this industry will be hard on you and they just won't let you in if you don't give it whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you started training in Canada in 2002, then traveled all over the world, Japan, everywhere, honing your skills, and eventually you were signed to a developmental deal in WWE. Now, what was the evolution like for you from when you started to maybe like your persona in OVW as Boris Alexev?
Oh gosh, yeah. So my coach was Don Koloff, and then Rip Rogers gave me the nickname of Boris. So everyone was just calling me Boris, and I said, wait a second, I'm a Boris Koloff, and now I'll explain why I'm doing all these different judo moves and suplexes and everything, because I was really, grappling oriented. And so I was Boris Koloff, and that's what I was for, about a year until Paul Heyman said, I want you to debut on OVW TV. And I wasn't under contract, so normally OVW TV was only for contracted guys. So he saw something, he changed my name from Boris Koloff to Boris Alexev. And we debuted, and the office took note. And then I got hired to my developmental. So then I went to Canada, got my work visa, took a couple months, and I came back down. So this is like maybe December of 06, something like late November 06. I come back down. Now I got my work visa, and I'm training as developmental talent in OVW. And then, in April, we got the phone call. And they said, can you speak Italian? And I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, absolutely. So I couldn't at the time very well. And I just repeated some Italian that I heard on an audio tape that I listened to on the way to work. And I guess my accent was authentic enough that they said, it sounds good to me. And that was it, man. Flew out the next day, debuted the next day, and 10 years later, here we are today.
Sure. Well, fast forward a little bit after spending time in OVW, you made your now infamous debut in Milan, Italy, defeating Umaga to become the Intercontinental Champion. As a lifelong wrestling fan, what were your thoughts knowing that you were now a part of wrestling history?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. No one's ever asked me that. I like that. Because, at the time, one of my friends said, I guess there was only 27 Intercontinental Championships or champions at the time or something like that. And that number, if that's accurate or not, I don't know. But just the number, I think, yeah, I'm a part of history now. I'm a person that has held this title. And it's funny, that was always the title in 1998 when I said, I'm going to be a wrestler. And I said, one day I'm going to be Intercontinental Champion. And a bunch of my friends, they always with me because they're like, he called it. And that was the one I got. And it's funny because I was training for the Olympics all throughout, high school and university for judo. And my daughter came early into my life, and you had to kind of let go of judo and, start feeding the family. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it was very difficult for me. But I always said one day when I win the Intercontinental Championship, and then I allow myself to finally let go of the Olympics and the fact that we had to derail the program. So I remember when I won the title, I'm looking down, I'm like, you promised, man, you got to let it go. And kind of did a little bit.
Well, this wasn't the only time that you actually got to taste championship gold while you were in WWE. You also won the tag team championships with Kozlov and scored the United States championship after you defeated Jack Swagger. Out of all of those championships, which one meant the most to you? Was it the one that we just talked about, or was there something later on?
Well, the Intercontinental Championship was my favorite, but when I won it the first time, I was like draped on top of a maga, like a lifeless body. And the second time, Beth Phoenix pinned Mickie James, so it was like both titles were on the line. And I think I was like unconscious again for winning that one. So it's cool that I had the title, but winning it unconscious both times kind of diminished it a little bit. The tag titles were awesome. I loved being a tag team with Kozlov. I would have did that for the rest of my career if I could. And then, of course, the U.S. Championship was an individual title, so that's always sweet. And I actually was awake when I won it. So I think the U.S. would have to be like, that was like my apex at that moment, That was close to around the times of the Rumble and the Elimination Chamber. It was all around that kind of time. So that was, you never know when's going to be your highest peak until you look back. I always thought there'd be one more little, especially before my neck hurt, I always thought, well, I'm the Miracle, right? So that means I got a Miracle in my back pocket at any time. I can win the big one any night. Ron Simmons told me that. He goes, buddy, you can do the comedy gimmick for 10 years. You win one match at the right time, you're a world heavyweight champion. And I was like, damn, that's true.
Now,
but I thought that would happen.
Sure. Now, during your second run as IC champion, you debuted probably one of the greatest things of all time, the Honkometer. Whose idea was this?
That was Brian Gowert's writer. It was his, and you know what? It's so funny. People to this day, they always talk about the Honkometer. It's so funny. At signings at Mania, they're like, "Bro, the Honkometer was the best." The Honkometer. One of those silly things that just resonated with the fans. So it was definitely fun to do, and do it like 100% serious. That's what made it funny,
Yeah.
Now, during your time in WWE, did you feel that, I mean, you seem like a very creative person. Do you feel like that you were ever, like, stifled creatively there, or did they like your input as well?
Oh, no. For my segments, they let me, there's a sliding scale. In the beginning, they write for you, and by the end, they'll give you 2 points, and you can just create your whole own thing, But you have to earn that kind of trust and respect. And, if you go off script, and Paul Heyman told me this a long time ago, is if you're going to change it when you're out there, what you change it to better be better than what they had. And, if it gets a huge reaction, trust me, no one's going to mention it. But if you go off on your own and it sucks, they'll be like, what the F was that?
Sure. Now, as an entertainer, you have to be versatile. While you were in WWE, you were the definition of that. Is that the key to being a success in the WWE?
To be versatile?
Yeah.
You have to be you have to have the mentality. If you're given lemons, you make lemonade. So, yeah, I wanted to wrestle like Chris Benoit and Dynamite Kid. And that's the way I trained and was prepared to. But, you know, whatever, Santino came, and you just, you know, it's such a privilege to be able to do this for a living, that just take what you're given and just knock it out of the park constantly. And so what? You know, because there are some guys, and it blows my mind how they really care about, okay, I guess if it comes down to money, that's a different story, but winning and losing, you're there to entertain, man. And some guys get caught up in this whole, what do they call it, perceived stock value of, you know, being a top guy or whatever. But if you can entertain and you have a job, just be happy. And I was taught that like early in my career, because I was already, 37, 38. And I started appreciating every single day from that point. So I've been appreciative for a long time. And when you're grateful, people see that. You show up backstage and everyone wants to be around you and everyone wants to do stuff with you. You love when you're there because you're walking around, you're happy and you're grateful. A lot of miserable guys, unfortunately. Not the majority, but there's always some miserable guys, and I just never got that.
Yeah.
Well, during your later run, it was a special time. You found an unlikely ally in the Cobra. Can you kind of tell us how that happened? Was that planned by someone else too, or was that something you had a hand in?
No, that was when I was in Japan in 2004 at Battle Arts, the original Battle Arts. Just a friend of the dojo at a local bar just showed me this thing where he transformed his arm into a snake. And, we laughed, whatever. And that was it. And then it's like he planted a seed in my head. And then 5 years later, I went, I was about to go out there with, was it Carlito or Chavo? And I look at Cena and I go, buddy, watch during my comeback. What I'm going to do? So I go out there and, wah, 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 Cobra, ping, and roll up or something. And the audience laughed immediately, like just with my bare arm, doing it for the first time, not knowing what it is. And we came back and there's like, buddy, that is gold, keep that. And we kept it. Nice. But we only did it on the live events. And then so I was out doing Raw one time, and I think Ricky Steamboat was my producer. And he's like, I figured I was wrestling, to be honest. He goes, but Santino's going over, and he goes, Vince wants to see the Cobra. He's heard about this Cobra. So the word must have got back from the live events that the Cobra was over with at least the boys, if not the audience. And, and once he saw it, he loved it. And that's it. It's like that thing was welded to my arm.
Well, personally, I know exactly what one of my favorite Cobra moments is. What's your personal favorite Cobra moment?
Wow. Cobra moments. Obviously, Mick Foley and myself, the Royal Rumble. Yep. That's a good one. The blindfold match I had with Drew McIntyre, that was actually, you do so much stuff, you kind of forget about stuff. And a few months ago, I saw that, and I hadn't seen that match in a long time. I was dying. That was hilarious. The thing with Kali and Jinder, that was shameful but delightful at the same time.
Now, speaking of moments, I know you no doubt get asked this probably on a daily basis, what your favorite moment of your wrestling career is. But what we want to know is, with all the great things that you got to do in the WWE, from Make-A-Wish to Tribute to the Troops, what moment had the biggest impact on you personally?
Oh, man. I think I was in Philadelphia, Sick Kids Hospital, and the kids there, I had to turn away a few times, and I get choked up pretty easy when it comes to stuff like that. Because the kids, God, man, they're suffering, man. Some of them have tubes coming out of them, and they look like they're really having a bad time. And then you walk in the room, and they're just so happy. And then I look at the parents, and the parents were holding their hearts like, look, he's smiling. Because the kids on a daily basis probably has a long face because, his tubes coming out of him, he's scared. Yeah. And the fact that we provided that moment of happiness for the parents to see their kids that one hit me like a ton of bricks. That was I'll never forget that.
Well, the last couple of years, on a more serious note here, they haven't been too kind to professional wrestlers. There's been a lot of injuries, and you were no exception to this rule, and you've had several neck injuries. Do you think that professional wrestling, there's been a lot of talk about it, some people think it should have an off season. Do you think that that's something that has some validity, or do you think that it's always going to kind of be this way?
It would be awesome to have an off season. You know what? I think it would be so much more popular. Like, let's say you had the same amount of viewership, like views, but you condensed it into. So, okay, I'm going to give a bad example. Listen to the 100 million people that watch it throughout the year. But if you condense it to 8 months, you still have 100 million people. So pound for pound, you're getting more of an audience kind of thing. And for the athletes, it'd obviously be very good too. But we're pretty meticulous about warming up and taping up and stretching and starting slow. You'd be surprised, man. I mean, we're banged up, but it's not. No one's wrestling really injured,
Mm-hmm. Now, we know you're a busy guy. We've got just a few more questions for you. Is the schedule and the wrestling, is that too much, or do you think that the audience has become too demanding?
The schedule? What do you mean, sir?
Do you think it's the schedule of, wrestling a certain amount of days a year, or is it just maybe, do you think it's that the audience has become too demanding?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if the market's there and the people are going to come to the show, this is a business. You want to make money. If you can confidently put some asses in some seats, and then run. But I think, like when I first started, there wasn't both TVs, right? So I worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I was home Tuesday, half of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, back on the road Friday. That schedule I could do forever, indefinitely. That was nothing. That was awesome. That second TV, going to SmackDown on Tuesday, now you're home for a day and a half, and now your home life is suffering, which is adding stress and could be a distraction when you're on the road. Maybe you want to go train. Maybe the guys are in there training, but you're fighting with your girlfriend in the parking lot because she's freaking out because you haven't been home, or whatever it is. Something wrong with the kids. And 4 days a week, if I could, write a report on my experience and send it to talent relations, I would definitely suggest 4 days a week. Mm-hmm. I think they should separate the brands again and do that.
Now, how is your neck feeling today? And what, being at Battle Arts Academy, what is your current health and training regimen like? What are you doing to keep yourself in shape today?
Well, I'm not really in shape right now. No, I do the kids judo classes and some of the kids wrestling classes, and I'll get out there and I'll do the warm up with them and stuff. Sometimes I'll I just did some dips and chin ups and all that kind of stuff right now. I don't train too crazy. I was for a while. I got into running for a bit, but as well as my neck, I have my lower back as I got arthritis too, so that kind of flares up on me sometimes. I can't do really heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. My neck is comfortable. I'm very comfortable for day-to-day life. I can't take a flat back. That's the only thing. Mm-hmm. But I could do some judo break falls, like rolling forward break falls, and there's been a couple times where I took a bump and I'm like, that wasn't so bad, but then I get a reminder, that was bad.
Sure. Now, prior to leaving WWE, you starred in Jingle All the Way 2. Would you be interested in doing more acting?
Yeah, I mean, as far as professional wrestlers go, I'm probably more towards the actor side anyway, just based on I was a character player, and I could transition to Hollywood, I think, pretty easy. And there's a lot of guys that when we go to SummerSlam, they'd come up to me, and these are like directors, producers, and they're wrestling fans, and they're like, dude, when you want to transition over, let me know. Here's my card. And I was like, thank you, but I'm going to stay here as long as I can. And now I got to go find their cards.
Well, with that being said, obviously within the WWE now there's the network, and I'm sure, we saw you on the network several times, but if you came back to the WWE, would you like to be a part of like your own network show if it was offered to you?
Yeah, I pitched a show. Where I just pitched it like the day after I got released because they were very clear about, we're not cutting our ties. Just your wrestling contract is done, but there's opportunities in the network and there's opportunities for other things. So I said, yeah, how about one of these guys? It's called Nice to Meet You. It's starring Santino Marella, and it takes place in a little espresso bar. And I don't have to be in character or not, but just meet the new guys coming to NXT and just say, hey, where you from? How'd you get here? What sports did you play? What's your background? Whatever. Just shoot the shit and let people get a little familiar. It goes a long way. The people that saw that episode, when they see them wrestling in the future, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember I watched that guy. He's from Oklahoma and he wrestled or whatever, They know having a little background information really, really helps with getting close to the characters.
All right, now we talked a bunch tonight. We have one little thing left to talk with you. It's our lightning round, to where whatever comes to your mind, whether it be a sentence or just a word, as short as possible of an answer that you can give. We're just going to shoot out some stuff, and then whatever's on top of your mind, almost like a word association thing. Okay?
Yeah.
All righty. All right. You're a comic book lover. Who is your favorite superhero?
Wolverine.
All right. You spent a lot of time with this person. What are your thoughts on Beth Phoenix?
Oh, Beth Phoenix is just a super woman. Edge is a lucky dude. She's smart and she's obviously strong, beautiful, independent, and good moral values. She's awesome. My actual wife is kind of like Beth. It's funny. They're both like these strong Polish ladies.
All right. You're a very inked superstar. Which tattoo is your favorite?
Oh, man. I don't think I have a favorite. I have one of my 5 that you can't know. But you've probably only seen the tail sticking out of my tights. That one's cool. I got that one in Japan. They're from all over. Toronto, Montreal, LA, Tokyo,
awesome.
Tampa.
Another female that you were linked with for a while. What are your thoughts on Maria Kanellis?
Maria is beautiful. She's awesome. She's she can light up a room. We were together, a long time ago now. But if we ever run into each other, it's always just great to see each other because we had fun.
All right. How is Santina, and will you give her number for Jonathan? I know he's looking for a number here. Well,
Santina's a lesbian, and
man.
Her and her girlfriend, they're back home and they adopted a baby.
Well, it's good to get an update on her. Everybody's been asking, so I'm ashamed, but I'm also a little relieved. But next person, Kozlov.
Oh, buddy, he's one of my best friends. My wife and I are going to Florida in a couple of weeks, and we're definitely making a trip to Miami to see Kozlov. That's, I got to see my buddy, man, the big bear. Have you seen pictures of him on social media lately?
Yeah,
it's
a beast.
Jack, like 300 pounds shredded.
Wow.
Monster. He's doing movies and stuff, and I think he's rushing it. He's the how can he not be in James Bond?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, it's like he's already been there.
Yep. What is something people would be surprised to know about you?
Surprised to know? A lot of people know I like to cook, but I'm quite proficient in the kitchen.
Right.
Here's a fun fact. I calculated I've been a black belt in judo for 27 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's ridiculous.
So I like that line, but there's some kids in here like they're 23 years old. I said, son, I've been a black belt longer than you've been alive.
I don't know how I got all these women here, but you've been linked to quite a few. Last lightning round question. Your thoughts on Tamina Snuka?
Oh, she's great. She's very important to have there in that locker room, as well as the programming, because it's not all Barbie dolls and models. It's some strong girls and serious girls, and she brings a level of authenticity to the product that's very important for that division. She's a great athlete too.
All right. Well, Anthony Santino, we appreciate your time today. Where can people keep up with you on social media?
My Twitter is Milan Miracle, at Milan Miracle, whatever. And the Instagram is The Milan Miracle. My Facebook, like my actual personal Facebook, that's like maxed out, whatever. But the WWE one, which I don't run, you can follow that, but it has nothing to do with me, to be honest.
And will you be appearing anywhere soon? Any you can let the fans know about?
I don't know, man. My phone blew up, and I got all these things for signings and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know, man.
Well, any more information, at least on the Battle Arts Academy, too?
Pardon me?
Any more information, too, for all the fans out there listening about your academy?
Yeah, if you live in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, come train with us. Come try it out for a week. If you're a young kid and you want to get into something cool and get on the right path in life, come do a combative sport. We do 3 Olympic sports: wrestling, boxing, and judo. And we have teams and kids that go out and compete. And it's also the foundation. If you're a kid out there, let's say you're a 16-year-old guy and you want to be a pro wrestler, come and do judo and come wrestle with us for a few years. You got to have that foundation. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty swamped here. I enjoy it. I come in here and I'm here for hours upon hours, 12-hour days sometimes. But I got food in the kitchen cooking. We sit around and it's a cool environment here.
Well, Santino, Anthony, we'd like to thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been an honor.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, guys.